Lord Rishabdev, the first Tirthankar in our region known as Bharat Kshetra, re-established the principles and philosophy of Jainism, illuminating the path of liberation for the world to follow. 23 other Tirthankars followed in the same tradition over the span of billions of years, until the liberation of the last Tirthankar, Lord Mahavir, approximately 2600 years ago. Through this extraordinary lineage, the knowledge of Jainism was directly transmitted from the divine sound of the Tirthankars and comprehended by their chief preceptors, who were called Gandhars. The highly knowledgeable Gandhar Munis utilized this wisdom to create the 12 components of the scripture, Dwadashang Shrut, within 48 minutes. Subsequently, this sacred wisdom was handed down to the Acharyas, who diligently transmitted it to their disciples through oral traditions. Remarkably, for 683 years after Lord Mahavir's liberation, the practice of writing scriptures did not exist. The knowledge was passed down through the learned Acharyas to their disciples solely through oral transmissions. However, as the time progressed, the ability to retain and comprehend knowledge began to wane. The table clearly illustrates the gradual decline in the capacity to preserve this invaluable wisdom. Nearly 2000 years ago, in this lineage, Acharya Dharsen had some knowledge passed down through the direct tradition of sermons. However, he knew that this tradition was no longer sufficient. He realized the diminishing cognition and retention skills of the humans will not be able to sustain this tradition, and the knowledge of the scriptures will be lost. He needed to find competent disciples who could preserve the knowledge in writing. One day, he dreamt of 2 strong white bulls bowing at his feet, indicating the arrival of young and devoted ascetics capable of this task. Sometime later, once when Acharya Dharsen opened his eyes after deep meditation, he saw 2 ascetics bowing before him. He understood their arrival as the indication given by his dream and decided to test their competence. He gave each of them a mantra and instructed them to accomplish it in a cave on the opposite hill. The mantra would be considered accomplished when 2 proportionately beautiful heavenly goddesses appeared. The ascetics were initially confused by the instruction, but they followed it faithfully. After completing the mantras, 2 heavenly goddesses did appear, but one had a tooth projecting from her mouth and the other had only one eye. The ascetics were worried, but they remembered their guru's advice not to rush back to him and to trust their own judgment. After scrutinizing the mantras, they realized that one had an extra letter while the other was missing a letter. They hesitated to correct the mantras given by their revered Acharya, but after much deliberation, they decided to make the corrections themselves. They immersed themselves in deep meditation, and soon 2 beautiful heavenly goddesses with proportionate features appeared, indicating their success. Pleased by their ability to follow their guru's instructions, the ascetics returned to Acharya Dharsen, who was amazed by their talent, humility, and wisdom. He named them Pushpadant and Bhutbali, acknowledging their exceptional qualities. Acharya emphasized that along with politeness, talent and wisdom were essential for acquiring knowledge. The combination of these 3 qualities creates an ideal learner. Without wakeful wisdom, one would be trapped in blind faith and unable to discern right from wrong. Having received the knowledge from Acharya Dharsen, Muni Shri Pushpadant and Bhutbali were bestowed with the stature of an Acharya, and they composed the first scripture, the Shatkhandagam. Acharya Pushpadant inscribed the Namokar Mahamantra, which pays homage to the five supreme beings, as the auspicious introductory verse, Mangalacharan, of this holy scripture. The momentous achievement of completion of this scripture took place on the 5th day of the waxing moon cycle in the month of Jyeshtha. Every year, this day is celebrated as the Shrut Panchami festival, when the great scriptures like Shatkhandagam ji are worshipped, and the passionless ascetics who wrote them are remembered.